here, and then the camera will go to Captain.
For the bridge peace talk sequence that we did today, we spent the day before that actually choreographing how we wanted the death sequence to happen. Ely, the director, and I were working on how we'd want to use the striker to kill all three characters with the same weapon. The actors jumped in and helped out with some choreographing as well.
1, 2, Father! What are you doing?
The main reason I was counting is for the person who is in front of me, because my character whips this striker out, and a claw comes out of one end, connects with a chain, impales the person at the far end of the table, and then I wrap the chain around the person in front of me, and there's a blade at the other end, which I stab into the person who's coming this way. The problem was this person here in front of me had his back to me, so he couldn't really see what I was doing, because obviously there was no chain around his neck. So I was counting it out, and on 3 was when I was wrapping the chain. 4, I was taking him this way. 5, I was taking him that way. I was also helping him with my hand on his back.
Once the performance is over, the job is far from complete.
There's quite a bit more that goes into it. Basically, you'll take all of your markers that we acquire, and then you have to do what's called tracking those. Since it is a light-based system, you get what's called occlusion. If you have 2 guys rolling around, that will occlude markers, and then those need to be rebuilt. And then you have to do a retarget, which then puts it back onto the actual asset that will be going into your game.
While motion capture is a highly technical art form, sometimes the team uses some simple aids to help in the process.
Yeah, there you go. That's what we use. We used a cart with a rolled-up wrestling mat. Super high-tech.
Father! This is the diviner's work, Roan. He will destroy us all.
The power and beauty of the cinematics in Lair rival even the biggest budget Hollywood special effects, propelling the story forward, deepening the characters, and giving us insight to the world. But as with any movie, stunning visuals are only half of the equation. That's where the Foley artist comes in.
Since the divide, my people have known nothing but war.
Foley is really the recreation of sounds in sync with the picture. That is, imagine being in a movie theater, taking all the seats out and having all these different surfaces and props, and we're actually creating sounds in sync with the picture.
Captain Talon! Rome, Devin, Lodi, get to the stable!
You know what? I didn't quite make it from Runaway, so can you pick it up there? Today we get a chance to do the stables, when the big dragons come out from behind the barred area where they're kept. They have big, big footstep sounds as they come out. And Allison, what do you think about the dragon feet, though?
I think it should be nail. Lots of nails.
Okay.
And
typically when we approach a scene, what we'll do is we will look at it first, then we'll just do the footsteps first. That gives us a chance to really see what's going on and get a feel for everything sonically. You know, let me try the run out again. That was wrong. Then we'll do the dragon footsteps, which of course we get a chance then to balance, if you will, between the human footsteps, which would only be so big, and the huge dragon feet. And in fact, even sweeten, that is, add additionally the sound of the nails of the dragons, because you clearly see them, at least in one of them, as they're coming towards us. And then from that point, we'll do props, and generally we do foreground to midground to background. Good. The dragon wings, we're using a large cape we bought for a couple other films we had to use recently. Yeah, I think, Justin, what we'll do is, since they're coming from the BG to the foreground, just Al's going to do it by herself. So Allison and I, we will use it in such a way that we create this big flapping sound. So, I mean, we really feel like that when we hear that flap, you think that this creature is literally held up in the air by its wings.
Good tools are key to any profession, but to a Foley artist, tools are everything.
Any good Foley stage looks like a garage sale gone berserk. The reason for that is there's so many different things we might need to use for a film or a video game or whatever it is that we're working on. Of course, the first thing we use is shoes. I probably have about 80 to 90 pair of shoes, each with unique properties. And yes, it's true, I do have a beautiful pair of red high heels, which only come out on certain occasions. We also need an incredible amount of props. I'd say we probably have somewhere around the neighborhood of 5,000 different props here on the stage.
I'll give you a little less blood spurt.
Could be something as large as a hood of a trunk, or it could be swords, could be arrows, could be pretty much anything. And again, this whole collection allows us to create any sound, custom sound for the project we're working on. When we do that right, you, the audience, don't know we've done it, you just believe what you're hearing.
The PlayStation 3 is by far the most advanced gaming system ever created, and even a seasoned developer like Factor 5 needs to learn new methods and new tricks to unlock its power.
One of the biggest challenges making photorealistic next-generation games on PlayStation 3 is that we are at a level of quality now where we compare with movies and television and special effects, but we don't get to use some of their tricks.
When you're creating a movie, the director can say, I want exactly this shot. I'm going to frame it this way. And you can work with that because you know, oh, the back of the head you will never see because it is not in the shot. So you can only build the face. We don't have that luxury. In games, the user has the control over the camera. You can always look around, and if there is no back of the head, it falls apart. So not only have we reached the detail level of movies and rendering capabilities of movies, but in terms of production value, we have to deliver more than the movie guys ever had to do.
And what makes this possible is Sony's cell technology.
If you look at your household PC, it basically is one unit that does all the processing in there. There's one thing that does, okay, 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 3 is 5. There's only that fast that it can go though. And the big difference for Cell is that there's a massive group of other CPUs that really can work massively in parallel.
The trick is, of course, to break up the game into small tasks that you can assign to these processors, and then they work independently for the rest of the game. And once they're done calculating, they report back, and you can take those results and send them to other cells.
Early on in the process, Factor 5 discovered a unique way to use the cell technology to their advantage, called progressive mesh.
A lot of people ask us, how many polygons in your Dragon? And the weird thing about that is, with the technology we're using on Cell, on any given frame of the game, I can't answer that question. We're building assets that are movie quality. We take them to the millions of polygons. We're running algorithms that decide how many polygons any given object on the screen should be using based on how far it is from the camera, how big it is on the screen.
We're being ambushed! Protect the mantis!
So in the past we had to create distinct LODs. So LODs means if you're a certain distance from an object, it maybe has 100 polygons. If you get closer, maybe it has 200. If you get closer, 400, and so on. But an artist had to actually go in and create each one of these LODs by hand. And when you switch between the LODs, you often saw like a pop, and all of a sudden it had more detail. So progressive mesh allows us to continuously add polygons as you get closer and closer to the object. So you don't have that jarring pop moment anymore.
So it gives you basically a smooth migration from one level to the next. If you look at it, you basically don't notice it happening. So it's a very nice, a very soft look. And again, the great power of the Cell processor